And the packet. And the packet.
Fun cards that we put together.
Early afternoon.
On the marine species report card, this one is a white abalone shell, and this one here is a black abalone shell. I also have a red abalone shell because we do have red abalone here, but they're not on the marine species report card. Yeah, he and I went to college.
What is biodiversity? You can look it up in the textbook, and I promise, if you read the definition, it'll just be like a blur of words. It's almost like biodiversity is diversity is diversity. So what is it really? And if you ask yourself, if biodiversity declined by 10%, what would that mean? How would we even know that? Would you feel really sad about that or connected to that? And I think not. And here's a little insider. I'm a research conservation biologist, and in conservation biology, it's a real challenge to define biodiversity in a way that allows you to measure it so you know whether it's getting better or worse. They're not the only component of it, and many of the other conversations about biodiversity, I said, if I told you there had been a 10% decline in California marine biodiversity,
I want to give you a little bit of augmentation to that. So in addition to highlighting population trends and making more tangible some of the natural history of these 30 species, the report card is an opportunity to talk about conservation actions and programs that exist here at the aquarium or further afield with our partners to help these species thrive into the future. The aquarium is involved in several of these conservation initiatives. At least 6 out of the 30 species we have focused programs on. And I want to give you some highlights of those today, and I encourage you to look at the materials you received when you came into the aquarium, which has some additional information. The first set of programs that we have are Head Start and breeding programs. Our animal care teams are working to increase the populations of endangered and threatened species across the state by raising juvenile animals here under human care and then releasing them into the wild. We do
Thank you so much, Jenny, and thank you to all of you for joining us here today for this wonderful lunch of the Marine Species Report Card. For members of the media, if you would like to do an interview before engaging on your tour, we invite you to come down now. You're welcome to do interviews with Jenny and Peter Kariba.
If it's only 45 minutes.
Perfect. That's no way here now. Turn for lights is a lot better. Clear.
Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia, part of the education team here at the Aquarium of the Pacific, and I'm also joined by a lovely diver as well, so you can definitely say hi to them. They can see you as clearly here because we want to talk a little bit about the Aquarium of the Pacific's Marine Species Report Card. And we actually have a website if you're interested in looking for more information. It's actually going to be pacific.2/NSRC, and the hashtag is going to be protected marine species. But the Marine Species Report Card is actually very important. So it is a public resource that is for people to learn a little bit more about our 30 local species here in Southern California. Now, it also shows the threats that they face, but also their population trends as well. So we're really excited to start this Marine Species Report Card here at the as a nursery area for those baby or juvenile animals. I might use it as a protective area, especially for those larger animals against especially for the smaller animals against larger predators or even storms. Some animals might use it as a food source, and some animals, this is a permanent home. So kelp forests are very important to so many different types of marine life. And this exhibit, our Honda Blue Cavern, is modeled after a real place. It's actually right by Catalina Island. So we are very lucky to get to experience a kelp forest habitat right here in our very own ocean backyard. And this is just a small percentage of it, also by Catalina Island. And it is an MPA, which means it's a marine protected area. So all these animals are protected, and that's a really great thing because it means they can live their full lives and possibly even have babies. So it's a really great thing.
In the year was up near Audi, California state fish. Shout it out if anybody has any particular questions, but this is pretty indicative of a predator-prey relationship or something that eats the algae that may overgrow some of these vertebrates. They hide. There's also a swell shark in here, which is also a small bottom-dwelling shark. But they
Would it like attack other sharks?
No. The shark. They feed more on hard-bodied invertebrates. You can see some empty clams.
Aquarium, we only have weight. Well,
Yeah, this is the most endangered of the abalone. There's 7 species of abalone that overlap the Southern California bight. And white abalone is the deepest living one. And that's for that reason they are a little bit more exposed in their natural behavior because there aren't that many predators in the deep water where they live. So they live on the top of a rock, for instance, as opposed to like in a deep crevice as an intertidal abalone might. And they were relatively safe until commercial divers developed the equipment to go down deep enough to pop off the rocks. And from what I heard, they're one of the more tasty abalone. So their population will be spawned to create more white abalone that can go out into the wild. Easy to put the animals out, they start breeding, yay, but we're putting these animals out into an area rich with predators. Yes, and in fact, until I think up until about 2016-17, you could still get red abalone north of San Francisco, but no abalone are allowed to be taken in the state of California. There's 2 now that are on the endangered species list, including the white abalone and the black abalone. The black abalone on the report card is an intertidal species where they're actually exposed to transfer a small portion to an area of their historic habitat in hopes that they can start breeding in that new area as well. We also have for California, it only has a partial window during the year where it's open, and there's certain limitations on how recreational fishers can take and how many they can take and what size they can take.
Do you know the current population?
The current, I don't have it on the equipment that water, so a lot of that's depends on the commercial and recreational take year after year after year, as opposed to being able to go down to the water. They don't do that.
Oh, did you see that? Both the ballowing or like they keep propelling off each other.
Because they'll go off the right before they molt. Molt is like shedding an exoskeleton, but then they're very soft and vulnerable. So if you don't know, get risk. Live communally in these, they'll share burrows, so it's probably a little bit of curiosity. It could be a little bit of mating. It could be jockeying position for feeding time.
So this is kind of where we represent our muscles, and they like to grow on artificial leaves. And yeah, so you can see them kind of falling right there. And the reason it's dark is because this represents it because this is a deep in the water. And so the more you look at it, the more you see it. Because all plants have roots, kelps have a holdfast that they different species. Well, obviously, but in different. Some of them are surf perch.
Oh, okay. They all look the same.
Most of them are surf perch.
Okay. Just trying to think of the caption for the photo. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got anything about all the side to do another deal?
Hold on, Winnie. 1 second. Some of them are cruising, some of them are resting. You can see a little block in her face. That's one of our hard breath for like 30 minutes or so. It's really incredible. So they'll there, but
Yeah, that was better. Oh, I see it first.
I just heard about that. Super in trouble.
What happens if I do this?
that's one of the reasons why you can't.
Remember? Look down, look down. Look down, it looks like you're going down. Okay, guys, it's going down. Remember when I fell? Oh my God, it's down. It looks like it's actually real.
Obviously, you're sticking your hands in the water, you can scoop in the touches.
He makes rounds, so if you miss a shot, don't worry. He'll come back
You've
around.
been to any other touch tank here at the aquarium. Let's say we got our moon jelly touch tank back that way outside. We've also got our coastal corner touch tank up on the second floor. You'll notice the water in both of those touch tanks is a lot colder than the water in our touch tanks here. Most of our animals, most of the animals that live in the ocean, whether they are fish, crabs, sea stars, sharks.
But it is not a marine course. So what's really interesting about marine turtle is that they are named green not for the color of their skin. You'll notice he's not very green sea turtle, but actually for what they eat. So they are like lawnmowers of the sea. They eat the eel grasses primarily.
Diamond-shaped brown, solid brown ones. And our blue-spotted ribbon-tail ray are the circular ones with those blue spots on them. Kind of by watching how they move around and also the amount that they move around, you can kind of get a feel for how they act when they're more circular. They're not swimming around as much, and when they do, they don't really have all. And the wild they find
It's really cool, and it never gets old to just go out there and be like, that's actually
I think so. Do you need to have like a beige brown cap? Okay. Thank you, Cassandra.
So this is a green sea turtle shell. You can see on the inside. They are their shells. These would be where the ribs are. This is the spine, and so they're not like.
The younger male has only been here for a couple months. He was at the Monterey Bay Aquarium until he was about 8-9 months old.
Well, welcome. I'm here to talk about our bull kelp conservation programs. Unfortunately, due to rising temperatures in our ocean, starting at about 2, went out and took a bunch of samples. We've got about 1,600 of them in state samples because they do need a water change 2 times a year. We are actually able to use what little material comes off in those water changes to grow all of these little tiny flasks that are going to have test tubes that have the stasis material. When we're doing the water change, we do pour the water into a beaker like this, and like you see, we aerate it, we actually increase the temperature, we get a little fertilizer until they're ready to be outplanted, and then we'll go ahead and dissect these into a couple different nodes, and then we'll glue them to rocks similar to look and see how much they've grown. Fantastic. We do have some of the large ones down in the Northern Pacific preview. They're over 10 feet long right now and still growing. They will grow all the way across the exhibit at some point. But they're really, really important for ecosystems. They're like the trees in a forest, providing habitat for numerous different animals. And they're impacted not only by species that you're looking at in this gallery are all intertwined, and the health of each is going to affect.
You're welcome to touch, explore if you'd like.
Sure.
But these, nice and slimy. And these little bladders help lift it towards the surface. Sometimes you'll find them at the beach. Sometimes folks like to pop them because there is air inside those.
Why do they need to be?
Non-actual kelp. These are ones we use in classroom for our students to explore with, but similar parts as well. So seafloor, these ones aren't getting as tall like this kind of kelp is, more growing like a bush. These often by like Cabrillo. Cabrillo's got a twist lifted up. This type of algae can grow up to 2 feet in a day. So that's a lot of growth from that rock, and we find it kind of floating on the water. Hi friends, welcome. We're exploring some algae here. Feel free to touch. If you like, the water's chilly, but feel free. You want to touch? However, if there is active algae growing like you see here, if these were to get damaged, the algae would start to
Oh my gosh, it's gonna show you that's its little face. So I'll get my finger out of the way, but that's its face, and that little tube is its mouth. Oh yeah, the tube. That's so cool. Might be the other classroom. So it might even open its mouth and show you its little scraping tongue called a radula, and that's what allows it to eat the algae off the sides. So these over here on this table will give you a difference between the red abalone and then the endangered full-grown or local typal sharks. Typal, and to use it for education purposes. You're also welcome to touch them.
Hold on tight.
It's actually leaning back to look at you all more.
Touch it, but I can't.
I'll step out of the way. Whoa, stealing all the limelight.
Only 2 fingers.
Is it showing you the little
Nice,
radula?
nice.
Look at them.
Okay, you want to pet? She said,
They're fun to pet if you're interested.
you want to pet something?
A couple of the
What do you want to pet?
friends in here that are
They're not gonna hurt you.
see by some size difference. There's one down there. That's the red urchin.
You want?
Comes out.
Look, Daddy will touch. Look.
the purple urchin.
See?
Again, please.
Again?
Right? Because the predators.
He's touching it.
What?
Where we have too many of the purple urchins, which therefore eats the giant kelp. And the giant kelp.
Because they have those like the big like underbite.
They do, yeah. So the California sheephead are one of the few animals that they are pretty resilient to fluctuations because they're tidal animals. They can go without.
Oh my god, it's real. What are these? I always see them in at the beach.
And then, like, we're going to see them here, the bodies of the dynamic. Look at the teeth, feel them, check out these animals. And all these are ones that you can actually see here, except for our whales. We don't keep whales here. Let me know if you have any questions. Please feel free to explore, touch all the things. Hello. Thank you. Yeah, feel free to touch, explore. Yeah, so these are some of the structures making up our underwater forest. Yeah, these are the blades here. We've got some nematocysts. These are important. This little strand of aluminum here helps lift the kelp towards the surface. So all these little parts, right? Because we all see it on kelp in the beach. Did you ever pop them?
Yeah, with my faces.
Yep. Very common. That's most people's interaction with them. But they play an important role with the kelp too.
I guess.
Helping lift it all, keeping it going up that way. Exactly. These ones we're finding in a little bit more shallow water. These are some of our seagrasses. Cabrillo Beach has tons of seagrass. You can be out in the woods there and you'll feel it on the boat.
Get in touch with those two fingers.
Yes, this is complicated.
It's amazing how sticky.
Or what our learners also touch all the time for exploration.
Yeah, you can see they're not nervous.
If they were, they would be hunched down. Instead, a lot of them are coming out to say hello. There's also some lipids in here. So these little, what look like rocks, are also animals. You can pet them as well. What's really fun with our really big urchins is they.
It's just so crazy that they're like,
And that's just how they kind of say, go away, I'm a bright color.
I know, right?
The urchins will eat everything.
I feel like they're kind of hard to see like kelp boards and stuff. You know, they have so much stuff on them. But then like when you eat them, it's so cute. You feel that munching on them.
that's so adorable.
And the little like riders on them. I know.
I'm like, look at your face.
And what that does is allows it to capture as it's floating around. So seaweed's drifting back and forth. It can use its spines to grab. It will also take rocks and move the rocks on top of it. It has a rather big rock. Oh, it's a shell that you put on top of it. This is a lid. Yeah, that's why they're people with it. They have a few. They just have a few predators, but so by and large, compared to other animals, I would say not big on, especially on this.
We've got a couple in the touch pool as well. Those ones have a little bit more of a balloon-shaped shell. They don't have the sea otters.
Their populations explode.
Just different kinds of
And they
species.
eat down.
As well as our art conservation
And
projects.
that's because they're trying to maintain
Our amazing sunflower stars. Like,
So they do that.
those guys are eating down.
They want their
just like
skull.
our sea urchins. Yes. We're important partners for.
Did you get a chance to see the sea otters today?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The sea otters will actually.
But we appreciate it. And yes, if we get grants.
All right, you guys come on.
Here. Go outside or inside?
Throughout our trip, if you're moving about the boat, please make sure you hold on to our handrail, especially going up and down the stairway. We do have our snack bar down inside the main cabin. You can see Consuelo. So you got chips, cookies, candy, sodas, water, and those ice cold beers. She will be out.
If you're posting photos today, you can use our hashtag, which is #ProtectMarineSpecies. And if you're interested in learning more, you can visit our website and search our Marine Species Report Card to learn more about from the aquarium, who'd be happy to answer your questions. And sit back, enjoy, and keep an eye out for whatever you can see. If you do see any animal, the easiest way to point out where those animals are is to use the boat like a clock. So if you're facing the front of the boat, that's going to be 12 o'clock. So if we see some specialized feathers that allow them, we've got a couple more cormorants flying on by. Specialized feathers that allow them to be pretty much waterproof when they're diving in. They feed on fish, and so they're pretty powerful swimmers. We can recognize cormorants. We've got them actually hanging out on this little buoy as well. They have dark black feathers and a long neck. That long neck does help them reach out and grab that fish when they are hunting.
Queen Mary was built in Glasgow, Scotland in 1934. Queen Mary is 1,019 feet long and 118 feet wide, which make her records in transatlantic passage of 30 knots. That is impressive, even by today's standards. During World War II, she was mainly credited for helping help the back around North Atlantic, earning what the nickname Grey Ghost allowed her to survive the war unscathed. After the war, the Queen Mary was restored to her original design, Ross, and some of the Batman series. Carnival Cruises purchased the dome in 2003 and now serves as the main ticketing and reception center for Carnival Cruises.
So pelicans are diving birds as well. Some of our pelican species. So brown pelicans are one of the smallest of our pelican species, but they're one of the few that do dive. So they will fly about 50 to 60 feet above the water, spot the fish that they're looking to eat, and dive down. They have what's called a gular pouch. So this big neck pouch that can expand to fill with water. So when they dive down, they'll open their kitty teeth, were used in abundance, and it made the shells of their eggs pretty weak. And so it was hard for the chicks to survive. But with being now, even though they are one of the smallest of the pelican family, they are very large birds. They have a wingspan of about 6 feet. And we often see them flying in that V formation. And that actually...
The Port of Long Beach was established back in 1911. Today has grown to cover more than 8,000 acres and is your gateway for international trade between the United States, Asia,
That's one way we can tell the difference. Another way to tell the difference is the flippers. So California sea lions have really long, strong front flippers, which is what allows them to get up onto the high surfaces of buoys like this. It's harder to see harbor seals on higher surfaces because they have really small front flippers, almost like little chicken wings. And instead they'll propel themselves through the water using their tail flippers. And that leads to their inner ears, so they are able to hear. And then the last difference is the sound. So if you hear that barking noise, I'm not going to give you a sample, but you're welcome to imitate your sea lions. You can all have a nice chorus of sea lions, but that loud barking noise that you are seeing a California sea lion versus a harbor seal. We are right along our break wall right now in front of us. It's a great place to see lots. It was built to protect the harbor and the port, so it keeps those big strong waves from ruining all the businesses here and from protecting the port. But it also has created a new habitat. So animals who like to live along rocky surfaces have found homes along our break wall. So we're getting some nice close looks at those brown pelicans. Excellent. So we also have a harbor seal. So that adaptation to help protect itself, but you can see it kind of bobbing its head. So on these lower rock surfaces, we've got a couple of them. There's, you can see 4 actually. The more you look and once you notice them, you'll be able to see we've got quite a few of them. Like, oh, now I know what I'm looking at. So oftentimes on the lower rocks is where we'll see these harbor seals, and that's because of those short flippers. They can't propel themselves up higher the way that sea lions can, so they tend to be on those lower rocks. They both have kind of sausage-like bodies, but our harbor seals tend to have more sausage-like body. And actually the way that they move when you see them kind of bouncing along is called galumphing. It's about as graceful as that word sounds. Now both
sea lions and harbor seals, they are mammals, which means they can't stay underwater forever. They do have to come to the surface to breed, and they will haul out. That's what they do. A lot of silver sides, anchovies, sardines, but they're also known to eat octopus and some other animals as well as small sharks. Whereas our harbor seals, they are known to eat more things like crustaceans and shelled animals as well. Now both of these animals, they do have whiskers that are a sensory organ. So each whisker can move independently of itself, and they help them to feel around and find their food.